the fire. Listen, listen, there's something I must confide. I know I said that it'd be fine. I know I made it look like it'd be alright, but I think I learned my lesson, and I'm not gonna let you out of my sight. You can call me killer, 'cause I'll bring you to the light. And it might taste bitter when you're answering to God. You can call me killer as you look into my eyes. Nothing but a sinner. You won't get away this time. You won't get away this time. You won't get away this time. You won't get away.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Motive Racing channel tonight for the Touring Car Championship here on Project Cars 2. We are back here for round 5 races 13, 14 and 15 of this season. We're coming towards the business end of the championship. This an 18 race season with 3 races per round at each event, and we have currently got 16 cars. We've got a full grid of drivers out on track here tonight for this 5th round of the season at Silverstone National, which is a bit of a favourite amongst the drivers, I've got to say, and this track never disappoints. It is always very captivating action around a circuit that's uncompromising, and there really is no room for error amongst any of these guys. But currently we're coming towards the end of the first practice session here. Before we get going for the race itself, it will be a reverse grid based on the championship standings with our 3 reserves that are here tonight, starting at the back of the grid behind the leaders, or behind, sorry, the regular championship drivers. So we have got currently Captain Harlock setting the pace here on a 57.8 in the BMW as well, so no mean feat being able to do those sort of lap times in the BMW. You've got Mike Gaming sat in 2nd place in the qualifying session right now. The Mutsnuts, sorry, in the practice session should I say, the Mutsnuts in 3rd. You can see there less than a 1/10 of a second separating the top 3, and Mike's just creeped a little bit closer there to the fastest time, but he's oh so close at the top of the leaderboard. We've also got Dirt Rally Pro driving as a reserve tonight. He's currently in the pits, but he's 4th in this practice at the moment. Jay has been setting the pace in practice over the last few nights, but so far P5 in this practice. I wonder if he's running, well, he is running 100 litres, we know that for sure. So obviously there are 4 drivers tonight who are running 100 litres in their car. That is the top 4 in the championship, and those guys are Cobb, Mike, Jay and John Boy. And I've been saying all along, it's really tough on John Boy, to be honest with you, because he's driving in the Mercedes, which, as most people who play Project Cars 2 know, has a particular fundamental disadvantages when it comes to racing against them again. It's slower in a straight line, probably not as mobile and nifty through the corners, so ultimately you're at a disadvantage in the Mercedes. Usually around most tracks I'd say it's about half a second, maybe 3/10 if you can really nail the setup and master how to drive it. But I'd say definitely that fundamentally the Megane's the quicker car. Obviously when you factor that in and then add it to the fact that he's carrying 100 litres in his car, it makes it a really difficult recipe for John Boy to have to counter. So, you know, the job that he's done this season and the job that he's doing at the moment, you know, you can't underestimate it. But as I said before, it's Cobb, Mike, Jay and John Boy who are currently carrying the 100 litres, the top 4 in the championship coming into tonight. John Boy's done a fantastic job outperforming that Mercedes all season, but he's carrying a bit of a handicap this week, as he was last week actually at Donington Park as well. But we are just going to quickly go through the championship standings whilst we're in this practice. And obviously it'd be obviously quite important to note that we are going to be reversing these championship standings for the first race of tonight. So the first race is a reverse grid based on the championship standings. The second race is a qualifying session which determines the grid order, and then the third race is another reverse grid, but it's based on the results from race 2. And obviously all of these reverse grids are concocted by a manual formation lap beforehand. So the drivers do 1 manual formation lap at slow speed to get themselves into order, and then once they've done that, they're all good to go and ready to race. Once we get to obviously the last corner, they can go out the last corner and officially go green. But Nick the Villa there has moved up the order a little bit at the end of the practice session. He moves up into P5. The Mutsnuts comes over. He stays in 3rd place for the time being, as I just saw Charlie Goff move up a couple of places there, up into 9th. But this practice, as I said before, don't read too much into this, because it's not going to mean a whole lot by the time we actually go racing. This is obviously, some drivers would have had a slipstream, some would have not, and some would have benefited from that for sure. As we see Jay go up into P6 at the end of the session there. Big Blue joining in during the session, but unfortunately won't be able to join us for this race as the grid is full. Obviously he's joined a bit late, so unfortunately we'll have to watch from the sidelines tonight. But it is Captain Harlock who takes the fastest time in the practice. I know it says qualifying at the top of the leaderboard. Please do ignore that. Don't read anything into it. This is a practice. It's not a qualifying. Your boy just set up a bit wrong when he was setting the lobby up. So So it's going to be a reverse grid based on the championship standings, and we're going to proceed into the first race of the night. But before we do that, we're going to go to a very quick video for our sponsors, revoltdetailer.com.
Sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. Now, when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I.
So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're here on the formation lap, getting ready to go racing for the first race of the night here at Motive in the Touring Car Championship. This is round 5, race 13 of season 12 here on Project Cars 2 on the PlayStation platform. As I said before, we're delighted to have a full grid of cars out on track tonight. What a great turnout we've had here for Silverstone National. As I said before, always one of the more favoured tracks amongst drivers. It's such a close circuit, there's so much action. You're never sort of like, you're never left wanting around a track like this, that is for sure. And we should have some great racing on offer. It's going to be probably quite difficult for me to keep up with it all, but I'm going to try my very best over the course of tonight to cover it and maybe not get too carried away and try and be a bit as eloquent as I possibly can, but it's not going to be easy, I tell you that. But we've got M. Afford leading the way on this formation. That obviously he's sat last of the regular drivers in the championship. Oh, it's Connor there, loses it onto the gravel. Wow, Connor, keep it together, mate. Keep it together. We haven't even started yet. Jesus. But he's back on now. But wow, Connor Boylan there getting a bit overexcited here on this formation lap. He's lining up just ahead of Revolt Detailer. You've got Ozzy Albie behind him ahead of Craig, followed by Nick the Villa. There's Charlie Goff in 7th ahead of Bart Hooper, Captain Harlequin and John Boy, followed by Jay in 11th. You've got Mike there behind him ahead of Cobb, the championship leader. Then you've got Dirt Rally Pro Thomas and the Mutts Nuts, the 3 reserves, starting at the back. Are we underway? I think we are. I think M. Afford's gone. As over the line we come here to start race 1 of the night. As over the line we come into Cops Corner for the first time, and looks like we're all through. No one really close on the driver in front of them at the moment. No real challenging at this point. We're all very clean through the first few corners. Somebody's gone a little bit wide there in a McGann, but to be fair, half of the grid's in McGann's. But M. Afford leading ahead of Connor, followed by Revolt Detailer. As looking further down the order, it doesn't look like there's any major dramas so far. Dirt Rally Pro getting a little bit wide there, coming through Chapel Curve, but it's currently almost exactly the same, I think. No real changes going on in this order right now. M. Afford leading down towards Brooklyn as they come for the first time. Connor, Revolt Detailer having a little look to the inside. You can see in the background there, Charlie Goff has got Park Hooper on the back of him, as now Captain Harley's looking to make a move here on Park Hooper. Rex coming through Brooklands, but he's too far back as Jay has made the move on Mike there up into 10th place. So in fact, he was actually behind him. He was actually ahead of him before. Whereas Mike there, loses it onto the grass. Mike Gaming having a big moment there. He's going to lose out to Cobb, as we can see in the background there. Dirt Rally Pro getting it onto the grass, and he's now going to lose out to Thomas. So Thomas moves up into 14th place, but Mike Gaming dropping a few places there behind Cobb and John Boy, as Park Hooper's got it back ahead of Captain Harlequin. But Captain Harlequin's looking back down the inside for Cobb's Corner and should have that move done back up into 8th place. And Jay here is looking to try and sucker both of them coming down towards Magnus and Beckett's they go. And can Jay get ahead of these guys? I think he is. Jay is going to be up the inside here of Captain Harlequin. He's going to get that move done up into 8th place. Does he he overshoot the corner? I don't think he does. Jay does brilliantly there to move up ahead of Captain Harlock. Parpoop has lost a couple of places here to Jay, Captain and Cobb. Now Parpoop is down to 11th place, so it's not been the lap for Parpooper. In the meantime, M. Afford leads ahead of Connie. You've got Revolt Detail coming under pressure from Aussie Albie, who's looking down the inside into Brooklands, and Aussie Albie's made that move up into 3rd place. As you can see, Nick Levin there waiting in the wings as Revolt Detail is looking up at the inside here of Aussie Albie. Aussie Albie goes wider. Revolt Detail attacks Connor in the rear there. Oh, they come together. Connor and Revolt Detail are having a collision on the exit of Luffield, and unfortunately then they're going to drop way down the order. Now Nick Levin is up into 2nd place. Charlie Goff there behind him as M. Afford has absolutely run off into the distance here in the first couple of laps of this race. You've got Nick ahead of Charlie, followed by Craig. As Craig's got Aussie looking up his inside, but wow, dramatic start to this race. Revolt Detail coming together with Connor Boylan, and Connor seems like he just can't seem to avoid the early race incidents. He seems to just be magnetic to problems. As Craig here is on the back of Jay, you've got side-by-side action here as Cobb is looking around the outside of Aussie Albie and should have that move done as they come out of Chapel down the Wellington straight they go. As you can see there in the foreground, Captain Harlock weaving all over the place, really struggling for traction there coming out of Chapel down towards Brooklands they come once again. Now Cobb's looking to the inside of Captain Harlock and should have that move done up into 6th place, and that's another position there for Cobb. Jay though, what a start from him. He's up into 4th place. We're only 4 laps into this race. It's been an electric start here from our former champion of the touring cars from 2 seasons ago. He is flying at the moment as M. Afford has got the lead, but Nick Levilla is hunting him down and is closing that gap. Nick Levilla a lot quicker on this particular lap than M. Afford was as they come over the line here to complete lap 4. Nick Levilla was 7/10 quicker than M. Afford on that previous lap, so he is flying at the moment. The rest of the pack seem like they are as they were at the moment. Got a few time penalties being handed out so far. You got Aussie, John Boy and Dirt Rally all picking up time penalties. So is Nick as well. So a few drivers there overstepping the track limits in the early stages of this race, which is easily done when you're running in such close quarters. Nick Levilla has got ahead of M. Afford here. So I don't know what's happened to M. Afford, but M. Afford has made a mistake there coming through Magus, Beckett and Chapel, and you can see he's trying to challenge Nick and trying to get back ahead of him here in the background. You've got Jay looking down the inside of Charlie into Brooklands they go. Is that going to be job done for Jay? Can Charlie hold it around the outside? No, he can't. Jay is up into 3rd place here. Captain Harlock has managed to get back ahead of Cobb and is now ahead of Craig as well. So Captain Harlock is up into P5. Now he's looking on the back of Charlie here. Charlie not getting a great run out of Luffield, and Captain Harlock moves through, says thank you very much, up into 4th place, and now he can look up ahead of with the leaders Nick, M. Afford and Jay not too far ahead of him. Jay though, with an absolutely superb first few laps in this race, is already into 3rd place, and he said before he's got work to do to catch the championship leader Cobb. He's 85 points behind him in this championship battle. He needs Cobb to have some serious problems in the rest of this season, but I wouldn't say, never say never. Anything can happen over the course of 6 races. Obviously 3 races per round, 2 rounds after the season. Always we can see in the background there John Boy looking to try and send one there up the inside. The Revolt Detail and John Boy and Ruddy come together, and there's a big crash there coming out of Chapel. Oh no! A Revolt Detail that goes straight into the side there of a passing car. That was Connor there. So unfortunate. Connor just seems to be magnetic to problems. He can't seem to get away from any of the incidents, but it's still Nick leading ahead of him, Afford, followed by Jay. But John Boy, Revolt Detailer and Dirt Rally all coming together on the exit of Chapel, and Connor just an innocent bystander under there. Now with huge damage on his car. Craig has dropped down to 12th place, so let's see what happened to him. I don't know if he was caught up in one of those melees there, but John Boy is up into 11th place. Nick has got just over a second of a gap here to M. Afford as Jay is looking on the back of M. Afford as they come now towards Maggots and Beckett's. Jay will have the inside for Maggots and should have that move done up into 2nd place. He does have that done. Charlie's trying to defend from Parpoop and Mike is trying to hunt these guys down. Captain Harlock there is looking up the inside here of looking around the outside, sorry, of Aussie, as you've got the Mutsnuts right behind these guys as well. But the big news here is that the championship leader Cobb is down to 13th place, so he has had an incident somewhere as well, and he is now well out of the picture here, which is going to be absolutely music to the ears of this man here, Jay, because he's running in 2nd place and could be hunting down a win here. He'll be hoping that Cobb can have a few more problems like that over the course of the rest of this season, but at the moment Jay is being handed a lifeline here in this title race, as is Mike, who is 46 points behind Cobb. Cobb has a massive lead in this championship and doesn't need to stress too much because he still is going to have the lead no matter what at the end of this one, as long as he doesn't completely stuff this up in this first race of the night. But he's going to have to definitely be on his guard for the rest of this season. Now Nick Levilla leads by just over a second. Jay's trying to hunt him down. Nick with a penalty. Jay hasn't. M. Afford hasn't. Neither has Park Pooper, Charlie or Mike. So Nick will need to watch out for those guys guys behind him. Captain Harlock, Ozzy, the Mutts Nuts and Thomas all have penalties, as we can see the Mutts Nuts here making the move up the inside of Ozzy on the exit of Chapel, and that should be job done there for the Mutts Nuts down the Wellington straight up into 8th place. But back towards the front, you can see that Nick Lavilla is still leading this race by just over a second right now ahead of Jay, but Jay is hunting him down and is trying to bridge that gap as quickly as he possibly can here. Emma there in third ahead of Parker, followed by Charlie, got Mike, Captain Harlock, there's the Mutts Nuts ahead of Ozzy Albie, followed by Thomas, and then Craig and John Boy running just about a second apart at the moment. A couple of seconds back to Cobb with the big damage on his car. I wonder if he's going to just bring it into the pits and maybe drive a bit more comfortably, or is he just going to go for the points? Obviously it's minimal points at this point. No, Cobb is out of the race. Cobb is he disconnected? That seemed quite abrupt. No, he's retired. Cobb is retired from the race. Well, that is unprecedented. I mean, the championship leader has retired from the race, which is unbelievable. Quite unbelievable, if I'm honest with you, because he would have still got some decent points. He's obviously got something to drive. He's got something to race for at the end of the day. But he's out of this race in the very early stages here. Obviously, we're not even halfway through into this race. But still Nick leading ahead of Jay, followed by Alfred. Park Pooper there ahead of Charlie, followed by Mike Gaming, who's got Captain Harlock looking over the back of him, coming into Brooklands. And Mike getting a little bit wrong there. Captain Harlock just giving him a bit of a tap in the rear as they come into Luffield. But at the moment, Mike's got that held onto there as Ozzy Albie's trying to defend here from Thomas. Thomas all over the place there as he comes through Luffield. He's a couple of seconds clear of Craig, who's got John Boy trying to close on him. John Boy also with damage on that car. You can see Revolt Detailer and Dirt Rally obviously were involved in that collision with John Boy a few laps ago. Those two are battling over 13th and 14th places, also with damage on their cars. Connor likewise with big damage as well. But we're going to watch this battle here for third place, because currently you've got about 5 cars battling here in a very short space here as they're coming down towards Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. As they're coming through now, you can see M. Afford there just ahead of Park Pooper. Park Pooper's got a little bit of a gap there to Charlie, who's just on the back of him. You can see Mike there and Captain Harlock also on those guys as they're now coming down towards Brooklands once again. But it's Nick leading ahead of Jay. Jay not able to bridge the gap at the moment, but Nick has a penalty, so that will obviously play into Jay's hands once we get to the end of this race. As Nick Lavilla lagging there coming through Luffield, so hopefully for him he doesn't disconnect, because he's currently in a great position to potentially win this race. Let's have a look at the penalties. Let's have a quick look. So Nick only has a 1 second penalty, so as long as he can keep this 1 second gap to Jay, he should be okay to take this win. But then again, I wouldn't put it past Jay to claw that gap down to under a second and really give Nick a bit of a fight here in this race. But little way to go left in this first race of the night. Nonetheless, M. Afford's got pressure from Park Pooper still, as these two have gapped Charlie and Mike a little bit. Mike's now looking to try and throw it at Charlie a little bit here. They've also got Captain Harlock on the back of them as well, so you can see there these three battling very closely indeed. Park Pooper managing to just pull up a little bit closer to M. Afford here as they're coming down the Wellington straight. Are we going to see any moves here? Mike now is looking on the outside of Charlie. Charlie though to the inside as Captain Harlock's going to the inside into Brooklands. Oh, we're going to be 3 wide into Brooklands, as look at that, Mike's going to go all the way around the outside and Captain Harlock unable to make anything happen there. Charlie Goff just holding the middle lane there, and Mike Gaming up into 5th place, getting the move done on Charlie Goff quite brilliantly there. Park Pooper still can't find a way through ahead of M. Afford as these two are battling out over 3rd place. M. Afford has got a time penalty now though as well, so he becomes the 7th driver in this race, 8th driver in this race to pick up a time penalty. So lots of time penalties being handed out willy-nilly here tonight by the Silverstone stewards, and plenty of push being made with the track limits so far tonight. In the meantime, the gap at the front between Nick and Jay is 1.6 seconds. Is Jay just biding his time, just waiting for his moment to pounce towards the end? Is he trying to keep the tyres in the right window, or is Nick's lower fuel load maybe just paying dividends at this point? Obviously with Jay carrying the 100-litre ballast that all the top 4 in the championship have to carry in every single round this season. M. Afford having to defend heavily from Park Pooper, as in the background Mike ever so late on the brakes. Park Pooper brakes early into Brooklands, going for the cutback. He hits M. Afford in the back there, and now Mike Gaming's going to look to the inside of Park Pooper. They're going to be side by side coming through Luffield, as in the background there Captain Harlock onto the grass, but Park Pooper can't get it done, can't hold on ahead of Mike Gaming. Mike Gaming's going to swoop down the inside for Woodcote. Park Pooper though will probably get a better run here, being on the outside. You get a much more better sort of radius around the corner, and Park Pooper Rex is going to be on the outside of Mike in towards Cop's corner. Can he keep it there? Mike there's going to try and hold the inside line. I think Park Pooper is going to have more momentum coming down towards Maggots. It's going to be close though between these two. Let's jump on board here with Charlie as we can see these guys coming up towards the corner now. And what's going to happen is we can see Mike Gaming, I think, has made that move coming through Chapel. Goes a little bit deep coming through the corner, and Park Pooper is now going to actually get a run on him down the Wellington straight once again. So Park Pooper there managing to set himself up beautifully here, but is he going to be able to get far enough alongside Mike to have a crack into Brooklands? I don't think he is. I think Mike's going to have the inside, the preferred line coming through Brooklands, and should be able to complete that one and cover him off there. Park Pooper is not giving up. I tell you what, he's still got a little bit of his car alongside him. He's going to go up the inside there for Luffield. Can Mike get the cut back? No, he can't. Park Pooper there, great driving from Park Pooper, managing to hold on to fourth place there. Mike can't come back at him on the exit of Luffield. In the background you've got Captain Harlock now trying to pressure the back of Charlie Goffers. He's looking down the inside. Oh, so close between those two as Charlie was squeezing him to the edge of the pit wall. Obviously he had the right to the line there. He was ahead, and he was ahead by more than a car length. Captain Harlock trying to poke his nose in. Charlie was saying, don't you dare, son. But Nick Lavella still leading the race by 2 seconds ahead of Jay. M. Afford there is just ahead of Park Pooper right now as these four guys, M. Afford, Park Pooper, Mike and Charlie, steam towards Maggots here. You've got Captain Harlock just behind these as well, so it's really still 5 cars battling it out over third place. Thomas has managed to pick up a few cars in this race. He's up into 8, so it's been a decent drive from Thomas Calge on his return to the touring cars here tonight. He's ahead of the Mutt Nuts. You can see Ozzy Albie and Craig battling out in the background there in 10th and 11th places. John Boy is about 5 seconds behind them in 12th. Revolt Detailer and Dirt Rally still battling over 13th and 14th places here, but M. Afford somehow still running in 3rd place in this race. Captain Harlock's up the inside of Charlie. Charlie goes a bit wide coming through Luffield, and that's job done there for Captain Harlock. Park Pooper's on the back of these, but he's lost out to all of these guys pretty much. So Park Pooper Rex has lost quite a lot of places over the last few laps, so it's not been the situation that he would have probably wanted here. Captain Harlock tapping the grass a little bit there as they came into Cop's corner, but they all file through it once again, and M. Afford still holding on for 3rd place grimly as they come down towards Maggots and Beckett's once again. M. Afford is going to have the outside, and Mike Gaming looks like he might have this one done here, and in fact is Captain Harlock going to capitalise on this as well? He is. Captain Harlock's going to have the inside on the Exeter Chapel curve, and he's now up the inside there. Captain Harlock there up into 4th place. Mike Gaming though is going to have to watch out because Captain Harlock's got a bit of a run here in that BMW. Mike Gaming defends the inside. Captain Harlock's looking to try and make 2 moves in the space of a few hundred metres. Doesn't work out for him. Mike Gaming there covers the line off beautifully there as they come into Luffield. Captain Harlock's going to watch out because M. Afford's trying to come back at him coming into Luffield. M. Afford's got Charlie up his inside as well. Charlie got great move there, catching M. Afford unawares as M. Afford was looking in front of him, but M. Afford getting a better exit out of Luffield and will have the run coming through Woodcote and down the start finish straight, and M. Afford there back up into P5 as Captain Harlock's now looking to the inside here on Mike Gaming coming down towards Cop's corner. Side by side, Captain Harlock goes for the move and he's going to make it stick there. Lovely move in the BMW from Captain Harlock. And he's up into 3rd place, so it's chopping and changing between all of these 5 guys right now. Captain Harlock now occupies the 3rd spot, but for how long is he going to be able to hold on to it? This is a slipstream battle here for 3rd place in this race. The gap at the front between Nick and Jay is just over 2 seconds. Jay doesn't seem capable of closing that gap to Nick at the moment. Nick seems to have the pace at this stage, obviously with the lighter fuel loads maybe, but I think also just the fact that he's a bit of a connoisseur around this track, is Nick Lavella. Really enjoying his racing so far tonight, as we can see Charlie looking to the inside of M. Afford but can't make it stick coming into Brooklands, but it's been a really engaging race this has so far, and hopefully we'll have more of the same over the next 2 events here tonight, as Ozzy Albie's still holding on ahead of Craig at the moment here for 10th place here in this race. But yeah, it's been fantastic action here tonight so far on the Motive channel. Really enjoying his racing so as our audio's all good, but John Boy there is running in 12th place. Well, wipes out. Oh, there's a collision just as we flick through there between Dirt Rally and Revolt Detailer. Dirt Rally was going for the cutback there, going into Brooklands, and they've come together, and Revolt Detailer is going to lose out to Connor, and Connor's going to get ahead of Dirt Rally as well. So Revolt Detailer and Dirt Rally losing out, but Dirt Rally very sportsmanlike there, waiting for Revolt Detailer to get it going again. I'm going to put that down to the fact that they both had damage on their cars, which is obviously going to affect their performance and their drivability. So I'm not going to read too much into that for Dirt Rally. I know that those two have been driving with damage since pretty much day dot in this race, so fair play to Dirt Rally for giving Revolt Detailer the position back there. But in the meantime, the battle for 3rd place still rages on between Captain Harlock and Mike. They've pulled away a little bit from M. Afford and Park Pooper right now. You can see Thomas has got the Mutt Nuts closing back up onto the rear of him here for 8th place. Obviously both of those with time penalties. Park Pooper and Charlie don't have time penalties, so they can capitalise on M. Afford here having a time penalty. Captain Harlock has also got a time penalty, so Mike will benefit from that as well. And obviously in his championship battle here, he will gain massive points on Cobb in this round, and will be obviously a bit closer, might even be within 10 points of him by the end of this particular race. So this first race of the night really has not gone well for Cobb at all. Jay running in second place, he's going to be handed a bit of a lifeline as well. He will cut the championship gap, his championship gap to Cobb, down to 40 points after this round. So it's going to be all to play for between these three drivers going into the remainder of this season. Jay is going to be probably counting his chickens right now and thinking, what has he done to deserve this luck? As Captain Harlock there running in third place ahead of Mike, Emma Afford there in fifth ahead of Park Pooper, followed by Charlie and Thomas, who have still got the nuts on the rear of them. But lots of battles going on here in the closing stages of this race. We've probably got, I would say, 2 more laps in this race, I reckon. 2 more laps, I reckon, to go here in this one. So obviously we can see there Captain Harlock and Mike still battling over third place. Not much to separate them. Emma Afford and Park Pooper still going at it as Thomas is looking down the inside of Charlie into Cobb's corner. Is that going to be job done for Thomas? He goes a little bit wide there, and we'll have got to slow down for that. And there we see Charlie now getting the cut back there down towards Magnus and Beckett as we come. And that is Charlie back up into 7th place there ahead of Thomas. So beautifully done there from Charlie, executing that cutback to perfection. Now Thomas has got to watch out because the Nuts is trying to come at him as well as they're coming down the Wellington Straight. As in the foreground here, we've got Park Pooper and Emma Afford going side by side, and Emma Afford goes deep into Brooklands, and Park Pooper there seizes on that into P5. Great move there from Park Pooper. Charlie's still holding on. Thomas trying to run the outside of Luffield, but the Nuts sneaks up the inside there of Thomas and gets the move done up into 8th place. Nice opportunism there from the Nuts and seizes on that. Didn't need a second invitation just there, did he? The gap at the front between Nick and Jay just over 2 seconds, but I think that Jay has left this a day late and $1 short. As long as Nick has still only got a 1 second penalty, he'll be alright. Yeah, he has only got a 1 second penalty still, so Nick Lavilla looking on course to take a race victory here at Silverstone National for the first race of the night here for the Touring Car Championship at Motive Round 5, obviously race 13 of season 12 here on Project Cars 2 on the PlayStation platform. Captain Harlock and Mike still battling over 3rd and 4th places as they're coming down the Wellington Straight. You can see in the background there Park Pooper, Emma Afford there ahead of the Nuts, followed by Charlie Goff as they're now coming down towards Brooklands. You can see there Charlie Goff looking to the inside here on the Nuts. Can he make the move? He's going to look to try and send one, but the Nuts covers him off and turns in there beautifully, holding on to the position there. Does the Nuts. Oh, it's Thomas there, tags Charlie in the back a little bit coming into Luffield, but gets away with it, and nothing doing there between those two. Nick Lavilla's won the race. Nick Lavilla's taken the victory ahead of Jay, so great win there from Nick Lavilla. Jay comes over in 2nd place. Captain Harlock completes the podium ahead of Mike, although Mike gets it on the penalty, so Mike 3rd, Captain Harlock 4th. Park Pooper takes 5th ahead of Emma Afford, who comes over in P6. Emma Afford loses out on the time penalties there to Charlie. So Charlie takes P6 ahead of Emma Afford, P7, followed by the Nuts in 8th place. Thomas comes over in 9th. Ozzy Albie is going to complete the top 10 as he comes over the line there. John Boy is going to come over in 11th place as he crosses over. Flash the lights there from John Boy. Craig there, P12 in the end for him. And then we've got the stragglers, the guys who came together a few laps ago. Revolt Detailer, obviously we saw him have a collision with Dirt Rally. Those two already had damage at that point, so I won't obviously knock them for that. But Revolt Detailer looks like he's come out on top in this battle with Connor and Dirt Rally. So Revolt Detailer over the line to take 13th place. Connor P14, and Dirt Rally completes the classification there in 15th place. And that is that for the first race of the night here at Motive for the Touring Car Championship. This is obviously race 13 of the season. We've got races 14 and 15 coming up in a few, well, later on tonight, but race 14 very, very soon. So guys, give us about 5 minutes. We will have the qualifying session underway for the second race, and yeah, it's going to be an absolute thriller, I would say. Stick around and wait and see what happens. back, guys. We're here for the qualifying session for the second race of the evening here at Motive for the Touring Car Championship. This is race 14 here of season 12, race 14 of 18 for the whole season. We've got a few comments coming in. I haven't been actually able to check out the comments here tonight, so I'm going to just jump on here. So we've got Seb saying, how much are they paying you? Just so you know, it's required by EU law to disclose sponsorships. You can do this via a little button. We're not actually in the EU anymore, so we left the EU like 6 years ago, so I don't know if that applies to us. Also, he's saying looks nice though. Happy for you, Andy. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Good to see you also, Seb, in the comments. Always nice to see you chiming in on the stream. We've got Ryan there saying, oh, hello, sexy voice. Hello. Sorry, who's the sexy voice? I don't know who the sexy voice is. And we've got Emma there saying, good luck, guys. Have a great night. Thank you, Emma. Obviously, got Emma, the other half there of Aussie Albie, saying hello. Always comes in and supports the boys racing out on the track here on Mondays and Thursdays. And Tuesdays as well, to be fair. And we got Ryan says, hi Emma, come on boys, come on Aussie. Andy, do you want me to update the standings for you? Yeah, if you're able to, mate, that would be amazing. Actually, that would be really, really handy. I might be, even if you've sort of got them, if you've got them on the go, I can read them out at the end of this session. Give everybody a little update, because I know it's going to be a big change. Obviously, with Cobb crashing out of the session in the early stages of the first race, it's going to be a real shake-up in the championship. I reckon, by my maths, I reckon that Mike is only going to be about less than 10 points behind Cobb, and I think that Jay is going to be about 40 points behind. So it's now going to be really wide open in this championship battle. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how it's evolved. But currently we've got Jay setting the pace in the early stages of this qualifying session there. 58.0, the fastest time that we've seen over the course of the event is a 57.8. That was from Captain Harlock in the first practice session, but obviously that was with a bit of a tow. Are the drivers going to be as kind to each other in this session, knowing that there's more at stake in a qualifying session? Maybe they're not going to be giving each other tows or giving each other help as much as they were in that practice session. Maybe a 58.0 could be enough for pole position here. We're just going to have to wait and see. It's a quick fire qualifying session here, only 5 minutes for the guys to get their times in, so it's really going to be about being on the ball and being in the right place at the right time. But it's a very close session, if I'm honest with you. There's only a second and a half separating the entire grid of 16 cars, so it is really, really close. It's a very evenly matched grid here for the Touring Car Championship, and I know that Emma Foot can go quicker than that as well. So in fact, there's 1.2 seconds now covering the entire pack here. So what incredibly close order we've got, as Jay currently top of the leaderboard here. Captain Harlock goes top of the leaderboard by 1/10 of a second. This man has been the man to beat over the course of tonight and in the practice in the build up to this race, and once again he has gone a little bit quicker here. Mike goes into P2, so he pushes Jay down to third place here at the moment. Jay's now got work to do if he wants to get himself up this order, but Captain Harlock, I tell you what, in the last couple of weeks he has really risen to the occasion. Last week we saw him take his first win at Donington Park in race 1 and race 3 of the season. So obviously it was his first win of the season, should I say. So obviously he took a double last week at Donington. Can he get a couple of wins here tonight? Obviously had to watch in the first race as Nick Lavilla took the win ahead of Jay, but can he do something here? As Jay does a 57.8 there, so provisional pole position there for Jay. What can Captain Harlock do? Can he come back at him as he's coming out of Woodcote and up towards 9? He will get a bit of a tow here from a Mercedes, and he doesn't get enough of a tow to go pole position just there then. As we see Connor in the pits here, coming towards the end of this session. But what can Jay do? Can he extend his margin? Can Captain Harlock go a little bit quicker here? What about Nick Lavilla? What is he up to? As he's not a bit too far back off of Jay, I think, to pick up the tow there. As we've got Cobb now, who seems to have been given a tow here from Nick. So interesting tactics there between Nick and Cobb as Cobb now moves through. So Cobb will have gained a bit of an advantage there from that tow off of Nick. We've got Pete in the comments there saying, hope we're all doing good, guys. Hopefully I'll be back next year on PS5 for ACC. Definitely, Pete, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the PS5. We're going to have so many guys from the PS4 jumping over to the PS5. The PS5 GT3 League on a Sunday is being announced very, very soon. So definitely keep an eye out for that, because that will be posted up on the Discord server in the coming days, actually. Also, if anyone's on PC, I'm setting up a PC ACC League for Wednesday sprints, and for Sunday, the 1 hour standard GT3 that we always run, or that we traditionally run. So check out that. We've got PS5 and PC ACC leagues coming very soon, and also Project Cars 2 leagues already out. Sign-ups already out for next season as well. So definitely come over and check that out. But that is the qualifying session here for the second race of the evening. It's Jay taking pole position by 300ths of a second there, ahead of Captain Harlock. Nick Levilla taking P3 ahead of Mike Gaming, followed by Dirt Rally Pro in 5th place. The Mustangs 6th ahead of MF, followed by Par Pooper Rex, John Boy and Cobb completing the top 10, down in 9th and 10th places, so not where they want to be. Only 0.6 of a second covering the top 11 drivers. Only 0.8 covering the top 14 cars. I don't need to say anymore. That's unbelievable. Aussie Albion Revolt Detailer completing the classification there. Not too far away either, let's be real. This is so close in this classification, but let's proceed to the race, guys, and we're going to just go to a very quick ad as well for our sponsors, revoltdetailer.com. So we'll be back in about 1 minute's time.
Sometimes and I can't seem to find a light. The walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. Now, when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I.
Here we are then, guys, we're getting ready to go racing here for the second race of the night. The lights will be coming up very shortly. We should be underway in a moment, and it looks like we're lights out and we're underway here. As down towards Cops Corner we come. Jay looks like he gets a good start there. Captain Harlock looking to the inside into Cops, and I think Captain Harlock's got a slightly better one there, as he's just going to head Jay coming through Cops Corner. Can Jay keep it around the outside? The BMW's traditionally much quicker off of the line, but I think Jay has managed to actually combat the BMW's advantage there off the line, and leads coming in towards Maggots and Beckett. So you've got Nick Levilla there in third place ahead of the Mustangs, as you've got Dirt Rally there a little bit wide, and that's going to allow Mike up the inside there up into 5th place. But a very clean first few corners right now. We're all through unscathed, I think. Connor's just chopped off at the back of them a little bit there, but you can see Captain Harlock attacking on Jay here as they're coming down towards Brooklands. Nick Levilla is looking up the inside there as well, as he's going to go down the inside. Oh, it's Nick Levilla almost tags Jay in the back there, down the inside of Captain Harlock in the back. The Mustangs loses it there, and it goes into the side there of Dirt Rally, and a big side there from the Mustangs and Mercedes there behind them. John Boy getting sideways there, looked like he had a bit of a contact there with Cobbers. Oh, there's somebody off as well. Oh no, we can see there in the background where you've got the Mustangs off and into the wall, and so is Par Pooper as well. So the Mustangs and Par Pooper there coming together on the exit of Luffield, but it's Jay leading ahead of Nick Levilla, followed by Mike Gaming there ahead of Captain, followed by Dirt Rally. Cobb down the inside there of John Boy up into 6th place, but absolute carnage there on the first lap. Aussie Albion to the pit, so is Par Pooper Rex, and Connor there up into 13th ahead of the Mustangs, but the Mustangs there having a collision there with Par Pooper into Luffield, and that did not go well at all. Both of those two coming off absolutely horrifically. As we see Jay leading down the Wellington Straight here for the second time in this race. He's got a 0.3 of a second gap right now over Nick Lavilla, who's hassling him as they're coming in towards the corner, but he's too far back at the moment. There's Dirt Rally, who's got Cobb looking, Captain Harlock's on the back of Dirt Rally there, and Captain Harlock's looking to try and pressure him if he can. As we can see the back on there, that's Emma Afford there, who went wide coming through Brooklands, as he just gives Thomas a bit of a tap there coming through Luffield. They're going to be side by side. Thomas should have a better run in that BMW and should be able to pull away from Emma Afford coming down the start finish straight, but Jay still leading right now by 0.4 of a second. Nick Lavilla trying to make some gains here on him though, as we could just see in the background there, I could see somebody shaping up a move coming down the start finish straight. Not sure who it was at the moment, but the pack is so close right now. There's 5 seconds covering the top 12 drivers here, as Jay's still leading the race narrowly, as Mike's now looking to try and capitalise on Nick Lavilla in front of him. Captain Harlock's made the move here on Dirt Rally, and Dirt Rally's lost out to Cobb as well, so that's Captain Harlock and Cobb up into 4th and 5th places respectively. Now Dirt Rally's looking to try and get a bit of a run here on Cobb down towards Brooklands. They come once again. Can he make this move here? He's going to look to the outside. Is he going to have enough grip around the outside to make this move? Cobb looks like he's got that covered off for the time being there in 5th place. Jay still leading, but Nick Lavilla's trying to cover off Mike Gaming here as they're coming through Luffield. Mike a little bit wide, gets it turned in nicely though, and Captain Harlock's still on the back of him there in that battle. Dirt Rally Pro really close here on Cobb as they're coming down the start finish straight. You can see there in that slipstream, just a little bit too far back at the moment, not quite in a position to make anything happen just at the moment, and he's going to tuck in there for the time being then. As Emma Afford is looking to make the move here on Craig down the inside into Cobb's corner. Has he got that done? Now Craig's going to look to try and get the cut back here, coming down towards Maggots, as he's now going to have the inside for Beckett. So here we go, we're side by side into the corner. Emma Afford tries to cover him off, and there's contact there between the two of them, and Craig slides across the track and almost into Emma Afford again. Emma Afford they're keeping it on, and is up into 9th place now. Craig losing a few places there. Did somebody lose it there on the infield? I don't know. It looked like somebody, I don't know if maybe somebody just got a bit sideways, but nonetheless, we can see Revolt Detailer has got Craig now behind him, as John Boy's looking to the inside on Craig coming into Brooklands, but he's too far back, and there's John Boy just tagging Craig in the back there as he gets it all wrong, and John Boy there almost losing it as they came out of the corner, but still in P12 at the moment. Jay is leading the race by ahead of Nick Lavilla by half a second right now. Mike Gaming is 1.3 off of the lead, as these guys have gapped Cobb ever so slightly there in 4th place. He's trying to defend from Dirt Rally. Dirt Rally's trying to come back at Cobb, as Thomas and Captain Harlock there in the background. Charlie ahead of Emma, followed by Revolt Detailer, who's just ahead of Craig, followed by John Boyd, the Mustnuts there ahead of Connor, who's running in 14th place. Aussie Albie and Park Hoover after their first lap pit stops, well off at the back of the pack right now, but Jay still leading narrowly, but Nick Lavilla is hassling him every step of the way so far in his second race of the night. As Nick Lavilla's now looking all over the back of Jay. Jay's probably going to have to defend this one, because Nick is looking very racy, a little bit too far away as they come into Brooklands, but Nick Lavilla will be tasting another win here. Obviously he won the first race of the night here at Silverstone National. Can he make it 2 from 2 so far tonight? As these guys now coming out of Luffield, Nick Lavilla's just a little bit too far away to really put Jay under real pressure at the moment, but Jay's going to be aware of Nick Lavilla's presence, that is for sure at this point. Dirt Rally still on the back of Cobb, still just a little bit too far away at this point as those two come down towards Cobb's corner. You've got Thomas there in the background there ahead of Captain Harlock. Charlie there still running in 8th place. He's just gapped Emma Afford by a little bit there on that lap. You can see Revolt Detailer's still got John Boy on the back of him, but he's dropped off at the back of Craig as Revolt Detailer a little bit over the course of that lap. The Mustnuts is just a little bit ahead of Connor there. You can see those two running in 13th and 14th places at the moment then. But here goes Nick Lavilla. I'll tell you what, he's got a heck of a run here coming down towards Brooklands, as Jay defending that inside line. Now Nick's going to try around the outside. Can he make this stick? No, he still has to tuck back in. Jay, wily old fox, knows what Nick's trying, knows how to defend from Nick, and these two good friends, they know each other very well, and Jay's not going to be tempted into making a mistake here at the hands of Nick Lavilla. Nick Lavilla's going to try and push him though as much as he can and try and exploit any little chinks in the armour for Jay. Jay, our former touring car champion from 2 seasons ago, looking to try and regain his title. He's now a lot closer to Cobb in the championship than what he was. Only 40 points, only 40 odd points behind him. I'm not sure with the exact gaps. We'll have to obviously figure that out a bit later on, but we know that the championship gap isn't that much between those guys now. and it's all to play for. Obviously Mike Gaming also in that battle. He's currently running ahead of Cobb, so he'll be gaining more points after this particular race if it stays as it is. But you can see Nick now looking to the outside here on Jay. That in the foreground, that is Park Pooper there, who will be imminently going a lap down. But at the moment it's Nick still right on the back of Jay as they're coming into Luffield here for the 7th time in this race. Looking to the outside, he's going to try and go for a bit of a cutback here out of Luffield down the start finish straight. He's just a little bit too far away. Jay getting a decent enough exit there to once again cover him off. Dirt Rally Pro still trying to hassle Cobb there for 4th place. Captain Harlock just a little bit off of them. We've got Thomas in between them as well. Charlie ahead of M. Afford, and Craig is now closing up onto the back of M. Afford a little bit here. Craig was 7/10 quicker on the previous lap than M. Afford. Let's have a look at this time around. I think it's even more this time around. Yeah, Craig 8/10 quicker than M. Afford that last time around, so he is gaining hand over fist. Revolt Detailer has pulled away a bit from the Mutts Nuts and John Boy. There's Connor running just behind them, not too far away off of them either. So there's lots going on right now. What's happening with Craig? Oh, Craig's lost it coming out of Cops Corner. He's binned it onto the runoff area and he's down to 14th place, so that's gone horribly wrong there for Craig. What a nightmare there for him. He's down to 14th in this race and is now out of any battles here in this race, so that's gone absolutely horrifically. As you can see, Cobb has now got Dirt Rally Pro looking to his inside through Brooklands. Cobb needs to be careful here. Dirt Rally Pro with nothing to lose tonight, racing as a reserve. Obviously Cobb, as we know, he's the championship leader in this touring car championship, so he just needs to keep his head together and not get overcome by the pressure here. But Dirt Rally Pro it's easier said than done. Dirt Rally Pro holds several world records on this game. I think he's a I mean, you can kind of guess by the name, but I think that he holds records in rallycross on this game. I believe he does. I don't think I'm thinking of the wrong person when I say that. I'm pretty sure he does. But right now, Dirt Rally Pro right on the back of Cobb there in that battle for 4th place. You've got Captain Harlock just ahead of Charlie as they're coming into Beckett's and Chapel right now. Revolt Detailer is still just ahead of the Mutts Nuts. M. Afford's dropped down to 11th place, so I don't know what's happened there to M. Afford, but he's lost quite a few places here. And all these guys who were in obviously Revolt Detailer was in 10th, he's now in 9th, and the Mutts Nuts was in 11th, he's now in 10th place. But M. Afford there just behind him, you can see, hasn't given up in this battle. Connor is now ahead of John Boy, so I don't know what's happened there to John Boy, but John Boy has got, I think, a bit of damage there on the front, or it looks like something's not quite right with that Mercedes. Nonetheless, go back to the leaders because Nick Lavilla is within 0.3 of a second still of Jay, and these two who battled it out over the, well, they didn't really battle much. Nick just kept the gap to Jay in the first race, and this one he's putting the pressure on with the roles reversed. Obviously Jay leading this time and Nick Lavilla in second place. But Jay's got everything to, well, he's got everything to gain in the championship, but he's got more to lose than Nick Lavilla has, because Nick Lavilla is not in this championship battle. Jay most certainly is. So Jay obviously will be, I'm sure, hoping to just gain more points on Cobb and Mike in this one. He's still 40 points adrift, so he still needs to he still needs to make some significant gains. He can't just rest on his laurels and outscore them. He needs to outscore them by still a reasonably sizable portion if he is to actually bring himself into this fight for the championship. But right now Dirt Rally's on the back of Cobb. You can see Cobb's watching his mirrors a little bit. He's now got Dirt Rally and Thomas in the BMW as well, who's very close behind them as they're coming out of Woodcote onto the start finish straight. Jay has got Nick still hassling him as they're coming over the line to complete their 10th laps of the race. There's a bit of lag there from Jay as they came through Cobb's corner. Captain Harlock there, not on the pace in this second race. Don't know what's happened to him. Has he got damaged maybe, or has he just made a few mistakes? He's currently battling with Charlie Goff for 7th place. Revolt Detailer ahead of the Mutts Nuts, followed by M. Afford. There's Connor, who's in 12th, ahead of John Boy, and Craig obviously with that mistake through Cops a few laps to go, down in 14th place. It's not been the second race of the night whatsoever here for Craig, but Cobb's once again defending here from Dirt Rally as Dirt Rally's looking to the outside into Brooklands. Cobb's got that inside line and should have that held onto. Dirt Rally's going to try all the way around the outside. That might turn to the inside for Luffield. No, Cobb's got it covered off. Oh, Dirt Rally, I tell you what, aggressive there much. And he squeezes up the inside up into 4th place. Cobb there just, I think, sees that coming and is now going to have to defend from Thomas. Thomas has got the run here. Cobb needs to keep calm because he needs to not get overcome by this scenario. He knows that he's still got the lead in the championship. He hasn't got a penalty as well. He just needs to keep this and keep on. Oh no! And Thomas and Cobb coming together, coming into Cobb's corner, and Cobb goes absolutely flying into the air. He's got huge damage on that car, absolutely huge damage, and Thomas has got damage as well. Oh no! And Cobb's not moving. I think he's retiring. He's done. Cobb is done. He's left the session. This is unbelievable. The championship leader has left the session. I don't know if he's done for the night. This could be championship over here for Cobb. Very possibly this could be championship over here for Cobb. Wow. Okay, this is unbelievable. But Jay still leading ahead of Nick the Villa, and Mike Gaming there is in third place ahead of Dirt Rally. But a collision there between Cobb and Thomas. And that could be a contentious issue here. Thomas is coming into the pits to get some damage fixed as he pulls in now. So, well, this could be controversial here. I tell you what, that is this could rage on over the course of tonight. This could be a big talking point after this race, but for the time being, Jay is leading ahead of Nick the Villa as these guys are coming down the Wellington straight. We've had another retirement from the race. I'm just going to have a look and see, try and figure out who it is. Looks like it could have been a disconnection here, because it wasn't one of the back markers, I'll tell you that. It was Revolt Detailer, so I think Revolt Detailer is disconnected. No, it wasn't Revolt Detailer, sorry Leo, it was, sorry, I do apologise there, mate. Still trying to work it out, you know. I'm trying to work out who it was. I'm really struggling to figure out who it was. Oh, it was Thomas. Yep, Thomas has retired the car. So Thomas out of this race here on lap 13, obviously with that damage with Cobb, and he will obviously be able to take part in this final race of the night. So he has to wait a few minutes, and we'll obviously be going for the final race, but he'll have to start from the back of the grid because he hasn't completed enough of this race to be classified. But this race is now, tonight's been soured a little bit, obviously, with the incident there. The championship leader Cobb out of this race here in the second race of the night. I want to kind of like get an idea. I hope that there wasn't any silly business going on there. I really do. Fingers crossed that it was just a racing incident. But obviously Thomas, an established driver in this league, you know, he's raced in the Touring Car Championship before without any issues. So if it is an incident between those two, which has been the fault of Thomas, it is a one-off, and it is just really unfortunate circumstances there for Cobb. So I don't know whether we're going to get Cobb back in for this final race of the night. He's certainly not out of this championship yet. He'll only be about 30 points behind Mike as it stands. And Jay would obviously be near enough level with him, although Nick the Villa's actually made the move on Jay into Cobb's corner. Nick the Villa's obviously got a penalty, so that he'll have to obviously have that added on to his race time by the time we get to the end of this race. Mike there ahead of Dirt Rally as they're coming in towards Beckett's and Chapel. Captain Hollick there running in P5 has got a couple of seconds back to Charlie, who's a long way ahead of this battle here. The Mutsnuts, Emmafford and Revolt, the Mutsnuts and Emmafford there battling a couple of seconds ahead of Revolt Detailer. There's Connor and John Boy battling just behind them. But Jay knows he just needs to sit on the back of Nick the Villa here, and he'll take the race win for race 2 of the night. And he will also move up into second in the championship behind Mike Gaming. So Mike Gaming, we believe, will be taking the championship lead after this race. And it will be Mike and Jay, the top 2 in the championship, with the championship leader. The big news tonight, Cobb out of the race due to a collision with Thomas coming down the start-finish straight. What is it with BMW drivers and Cobb? Okay, now that's, I shouldn't be saying that, but it just seems like it's always I don't know. It seems like they seem to have a problem with him. My Gaming battling with Dirt Rally as they're coming into Luffield. Mike holding the inside, defending from him quite nicely at the moment. Dirt Rally has got a time penalty. Jay, Mike, Connor, Craig, Ozzy and John Boy, the only drivers that are out of time penalties. The other 8 drivers have got time penalties, so 6 drivers have kept it clean without any time penalties, and the other 8 have all got time penalties. But Jay keeping it within a second of Nick right now and keeping himself within that striking distance. Obviously Nick with that 1 second penalty will lose the win at this point. As John Boy there comes out into the lead pack as he's moving well out of the way there, wants no piece of this and moves out of Mike and Dirt Rally's way as well. So good driving there, very sportsmanlike there from John Boy with the blue flags being waved. The Mutts Nuts seems to have stopped out on track here because Connor and Revolt Dieter are now ahead of him. Did the Mutts Nuts run out of fuel maybe? Potentially the Mutts Nuts under fueling the car. He's out of the race. And we're down to 13 here as we're coming towards the later stages of his second race. Nick's still leading. Jay's actually a threat here of dropping out of that 1 second gap here to Nick. Nick is pulling out the gap. I tell you what, Jay could be in trouble here and might not get this race win. If he fails to get the race win, he will still move into second in the championship, I think. Just about. He will just move ahead of Cobb. It's going to be close, but I think he'll just be in second in the championship. He'll obviously still gain points on Mike Gaming, who is behind Dirt Rally on the track, but as it stands, Mike will get ahead of Dirt Rally on the time penalties, so Mike Gaming still in a net third place, although Mike is slowing. What's Mike doing? He's just slowed down coming down the Wellington Straight. I don't know whether he was adjusting something on his wheel or had to pick something up or take a sip of a drink or something, but he just lost about 2 seconds coming down the Wellington Straight. Not 2 seconds, maybe a second and a half. A second and a half he lost coming down that one straight. Very strange there. The gap just dips under a second again between Nick and Jay, so it's ebbing and flowing, but at the moment Jay just within striking distance of being able to take this win on the time penalties. By the time we get to the checkered flag, he's just keeping it within a second. It's going up and down. I tell you what, it could be very close by the time we cross the line for the checkered flag in 3 laps time. But at the moment, Jay just doing enough here to take the win in his second race and put himself second in this championship battle here, and put Mike Gaming obviously taking the lead of the championship as it stands tonight ahead of Cobb. Cobb crashing out of this second race. He's crashed out of both races here tonight. First race it was a bit of a melee. Second race a collision with Thomas Calge coming down the main straight into Cobb's corner. And those two out of the race here. On lap 13 it was, lap 12 or 13 I think it was, those two came together. And what a shame, obviously, for Cobb. He had a healthy championship lead coming into tonight. He had a 46 point lead, and that has been wiped away in the space of 2 races, and all of a sudden he now finds himself at least, I think, 30 points behind this man, Mike Gaming, who is looking set to take the championship lead. And as I said before, Mike Gaming is he's the current champion of the touring cars. He's not had the season so far in the touring cars. He's been saying so far this season that he hasn't been able to hook it up like he has before. He said he prefers the BMW to the Megane. Obviously switched from the BMW to the Megane for this season, but to be fair, he's doing enough at this point. But we know that this man here for sure is going to get pushing him all the way. And Jay over the last few rounds has had the pace over Mike. He's had the better momentum in the last few rounds. So I would say, although Mike's got the championship gap, I would say that Jay has definitely got the momentum here. And it's going to be anyone's battle, but it's definitely a 2-horse race, I think, now, unless Cobb gets himself in for the final race. If Cobb comes in for the final race of tonight, I would say it's still wide open, but he needs to get himself in for this final race, because if he doesn't turn up to this final race, his championship's over. As it stands, he's only about 30 points. If I work it out in my head, he had a 46 point lead before tonight. As Jay is making the move here on Nick, this doesn't really matter too much, because obviously Jay obviously doesn't have a penalty, whereas Nick does. So he will get P1 anyway. But these two side by side coming into Brooklyn. Nick de Villa's trying to go up the inside, but Jay holding it around the outside, and Jay's going to come into Luffield now, and it's going to be the victory here for Jay. These two have shared the top two in both races so far tonight. Nick de Villa taking the spoils in race 1. It's going to be Jay coming out of Woodcote for the final time here, and he's going to come up towards the line. It's going to be the checkered flag, and Jay is going to go second in the championship after this particular race. Nick de Villa takes second place here, and it's the first and a second here so far tonight for Nick. Great results there for him. Mike does take third on the time penalties, which helps him to take a bigger lead in the championship. Dirt Rally over in fourth, so Mike Gaming, your new championship leader after race 2 here tonight. Captain Harlock takes 5th place in the end ahead of Charlie Goff in 6th. As we see a car has run out of fuel. No, he hasn't run out of fuel, sorry. Who is that who's parked up? John Boy crosses the line at a canter. Revolt Detail is coming over to finish in 7th place, just ahead of Connor. So Revolt Detail is 7th, Connor in 8th. In fact, Connor gets the 7th on the time penalties there. So Connor 7th, MF in 8th. Revolt Detailer drops to 9th place on the time penalties. Craig up towards the line. It's going to be 10th place here for Craig, as Aussie Albie will come over in 11th. Park Weaver and John Boy both finishing a lap down there, so they've already finished the race. But that second race soured a little bit by the collision there between Cobb and Thomas. Again, not 100% sure what went off there. We're going to just grab the replay of that one so we can have a look back and see, because that is a very contentious issue, I feel. So that could be quite relevant, and I believe it should be looked at. Maybe it could be a bit of a review into how we do things here. But nonetheless, it's Jay taking the win ahead of Nick de Villa, with Mike Gaming in 3rd place, completing the podium. So that, just to keep you up to date, Mike Gaming taking the championship lead after this second race of the night. Jay moving into 2nd in the point standings. We need to get Cobb back into this final race, guys. Please, Cobb, if you're listening, mate, I know you're disappointed, I know you're feeling pain right now, but trust me, 30 points, there is still over 200 points on the table. Get yourself back in, dust yourself off. 30 points is nothing. There's 200 points on the table. Cobb, if you're listening, mate, please join us again for this final race of the night. Anything can happen. But here we're going to go to a quick short break anyway. We'll be back in a moment.
And I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me and I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight, what a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I.
Was anyone close to that collision with Cobb and Thomas? Did anyone get a good view of that? Because I saw it live, but I couldn't really get an idea of what happened. It just seemed like they came across on each other.
Cracky. Cracky.
While you and me repeat, this bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire. Suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire.
Welcome back, guys, for the final race of the evening here at Silverstone National for the Touring Car Championship at Motive. This is the penultimate round of the season with races 13, 14 and 15. This race coming up, the final race of the night, race 3 of the night, race 15 for the entire season. It's going to be a reverse grid based on the second race that we had tonight. So it will obviously be reversing the finishing order from that race that we had just a few moments ago. And that's the order that we'll be starting in for this particular race. So we're doing one manual formation up to get into that order that we're supposed to be in, and then we'll be officially green for the final time tonight. And obviously the championship now really changing quite a lot over the course of tonight with obviously Cobb
get lost sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. Now, when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight, what a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I. Only you find out. You.
Welcome back, welcome back everybody. We're here for the final race of tonight for the Touring Car Championship. We've still got 15 drivers here tonight. We're missing Thomas and Cobb, the two who crashed into each other in the previous race. We've been replaced by Big Blue, who will be starting at the back for this one. Big Blue unfortunately joined a little bit late for the first race, but he gets to drive here tonight in the final race of the night as John Boy gets this underway as we're coming over the line here to start the first racing lap here. He gets away ahead of Park Pooper, followed by Aussie Albie, as we're all now going to file through Cop's corner. Is anybody going to be shaping up a move here as they come through the corner? Looks like we're all as you were coming through the first corner, and it was very clean as well. John Boy leads ahead of Park Pooper, followed by Aussie, coming down towards Maggots. As you can see, Craig there shaping up a move here on Aussie Albie, coming through the corner. Can he make the move? Looks like he's not quite close enough at this point. He was having a look though, wasn't he, as Craig was fancying sending one up the inside, but nothing doing. John Boy leading though, coming down towards Brooklands here for the first time in this final race of the night. Park Pooper looking to the outside. Can he make the move all the way around the outside? Park Pooper's going to have a crack, you know, but he has to go for the cutback and can't do it. Revolt Detailer has gone down the inside of Craig up into 4th place, and M. Afford's dropping down the order. What's happened to M. Afford? He's on the grass there coming into left field, so M. Afford's had a bit of a nightmare there, and he's dropping down the order like a stone. But Park Pooper here really challenging John Boy as they're coming through Woodcote. He's got a fantastic run here as Park Pooper now coming down the start finish straight. He's going to look to the outside. John Boy going to defend the inside. I don't think he's going to be able to defend this position though. In towards Cop's corner they come. John Boy looking back down the inside. Park Pooper there has to concede as he sees John Boy sending one there. They're going to be all the way down towards Maggots and Beckett. It's going to be John Boy with the drag, with the better run as he now gets the lead back off of Park Pooper Rex. Aussie Albie with that head of Revolt Detail, followed by Craig right behind these guys. Then you've got Charlie ahead of Captain Harlock, followed by Dirt Rally, who's just ahead of Mike, who's looking to the outside. You've got Nick DeVilla down the inside there of Connor into 10th place. Connor getting pushed out a little bit wide there. There's Jay moving up into 11th place, and Connor's got to watch out because the Mustnuts, Emma for the Big Blue are right behind him. But at the front of the pack it's currently Park Pooper and John Boy side by side into Brooklands. Aussie Albie's looking down the inside of Revolt Detail, but John Boy's made the move there up the inside of Park Pooper. Park Pooper at the inside forward off field and will be back down the inside. Bit of a slide there from John Boy as he tries to control the car. Park Pooper there is going to have to exit here out of Luffield, but John Boy will get the better run around the outside. Park Pooper though with the faster car in a straight line. Revolt Detail is now looking up the inside. Revolt Detail with a fantastic run down the start finish straight. Can he make the move here on Park Pooper as well? As down the inside goes Revolt Detailer for the lead of the race. Here we go, Revolt Detailer just keeping it there on the inside. Park Pooper Rex all the way out to the edge of the track there on the curbs down towards Maggots and Beckett. They come once again. Revolt Detailer having a crack here at the lead of the race. He's down the inside there. Bit of a banging doorstep between the two of them, but Revolt Detailer I think is going to have this done. Park Pooper Rex trying to hold it around the outside, and then once again they just touch a little bit. Revolt Detailer there on the outside. Park Pooper Rex is going to have the inside coming down towards Brooklands, and he's going to have that covered off once again. John Boy, Craig, Aussie Albie right in pursuit as the Revolt Detailer looking back down the inside again on Park Pooper into Brooklands. Park Pooper they're keeping it around the outside. Revolt Detailer pushes him wide onto the grass a little bit, and Revolt Detailer's now going to watch out because John Boy's now looking down his inside into Luffield. As you can see there in the background, you've got Charlie Goff down the inside of Craig up into 4th place. Aussie Albie's lost places down to P6. Captain Harlock ahead of Dirt Rally. Mike Gaming and Jay in 9th and 10th places at the moment, but it's it's chaos right now, but it's very clean, I've got to say. There's Park Pooper here looking around the outside of John Boy but can't make the move. Charlie Goff is now looking to try and pick up Park Pooper, and Charlie moves himself into 3rd place. Nicely done there from Charlie as we see Mike Gaming's lost out to Jay. Jay's up into 9th place, and Jay, what's happened to Jay? He's on the grass. Oh, what's happened to Jay? And gets it all wrong there coming into Maggots, and it's now dropped those places that he gained, and Mike and the Mustnuts move up ahead of him there. So all sorts going on right now as we can see John Boy now defending to the inside. He's trying to keep on to P2, but Charlie is sticking to the outside, and so is Park Pooper as well. He's all the way around the outside of these two as well, but Charlie can't make the move on John Boy. John Boy having the inside coming into Brooklands and keeps onto the position there, but there's so many cars packed into a short space. Aussie Albie's losing places. Dirt Rally down the inside of Aussie as we now Dirt Rally's also looking on the back of Craig as well. Dirt Rally trying to gain places here. We've got a second covering the top 5 drivers as they're coming over the line here to complete lap 5. Is Revolt Detailer leading the way ahead of John Boy. So Revolt Detailer, what work he's done in the first part of this race. There's so many cars. Look at this. There's 2 seconds separating 11 cars. Unbelievable scenes here at Silverstone for the final race of the night here in the Touring Car Championship. Revolt Detailer just has the lead. John Boy still right on the back of him as we see a bit of contact there. Craig running into the back of Park Pooper a little bit. He might lose out here. Craig is going to lose out on P5 to Dirt Rally. Mike Gaming's now looking to try and capitalise on this as well as they come coming down the Wellington Straight once again. But Revolt Detailer's got pressure here. You can see that he's got a load of cars queuing up behind him, but they're 3 wide once again. John Boy down the middle. There's Park Pooper on the outside. Charlie Goff up the inside as John Boy once again wins out that battle there for P2. He's now looking down the inside of Revolt Detailer slides, coming through Loffield, and John Boy up the inside, up into the lead. Revolt Detailer there just got it all wrong, and unfortunately all of his hard work. Oh, there's carnage! There's loads of cars in the gravel. What's happened here? A Big Blue involved in that Aussie Albion Dirt Rally as well. We've got a retirement from the race. Who is retired from the race? I need to try and figure out who that is. Somebody's retired from the race in the early stages of this race. This is absolute chaos here in the first few laps of this race. We're a third of the way into the final race of the night. We've lost the driver from the race. I'm still trying to figure out who it is, but we'll have to work it out in a bit. But John Boy still leading ahead of Charlie Goff, followed by Park Pooper in third place. But suddenly that battle for the lead has been cut wide open. Jay is still just ahead of Mike in this battle for fourth place. You've got Craig there on the back of him ahead of Emma, followed by Nick DeVilla, and Connor's just dropped off, and these guys a little bit here. But it's still a reasonably wide battle here for fourth place. 6 cars here packed into a short space as they're coming into Brooklands. You can see that Big Blue's having to defend. Connor looking around the outside into Brooklands. Can he get the move done? No, Big Blue's going to have that car over to Loffield. Oh, and Connor spins it there, gets it pointing the wrong way, and he's going to have to wait for the cars to come past here. He's going to have to wait for the pack to come by. He's now getting it going. He doesn't have much confidence getting that spun around, but there we go. Connor back onto the track there, but he's now well off for the lead. He's 15 seconds off of the lead of John Boy now. Charlie on the back of John Boy still. Park Pooper ahead of Jay, followed by Mike. You got Craig there ahead of Alfred, followed by Nick Lavilla, who's got damage on the front of his car. So Nick Lavilla is going to be crabbing for the rest of this race. And Dirt Rally Pro, we're down in 11th place after that chaos that we saw coming through Luffield there at the end of lap 6. Aussie Albie into the pits to get some damage repaired. So this race was a massive battle for the lead. It's now turned into once again a bit of a stretched out race. There were 11 cars within 2 seconds of each other for a few moments there. That was unbelievable. So 3 are battle for the lead currently. John Boy, Charlie and Park Pooper. There's Jay ahead of Mike, followed by Craig. You've got Alfred just ahead of Nick, followed by Big Blue, and there's Revolt Detailer completing the top 10. But John Boy here could be in with a shout of a win maybe tonight. Could he do it in the Mercedes with 100 litres in the car? What an achievement that would be if he's able to do that. I tell you, it was Captain Harlock who we lost from the race in the early stages, the Mutts Nuts as well, so we lost those 2 in the early stages of this one. But John Boy still leading ahead of Charlie, followed by Parker, but Jay ahead of Mike. There's Craig, and then a bit of a gap back to Big Blue, who's running a couple of seconds clear of Revolt Detailer. Nick Villa just behind Emmaford right now as we see Dirt Rally into the pits to get some damage repaired. So he becomes the second driver after Aussie Albie to come in for some damage here. Charlie Goff is on the back here of John Boy as he's looking to try and make a move for the lead of the race here. Charlie Goff, he usually goes very well in the final races of the night. Your race 3 is usually his stomping ground. But Park Pooper, look at Park Pooper around the outside. Wow, I didn't see that coming. We're on board with Charlie Goff as Park Pooper was trying to sneak his nose around the outside into Brooklands. Through Luffield they go. John Boy has the lead. Charlie Goff is looking to try and keep it around the outside of Park Pooper Rex, and Charlie will get the better run coming through Woodcote, and I reckon he'll be able to hold on unless John Boy gives the slipstream to Park Pooper. Let's see what John Boy does here. Where's John Boy going to go on this track as Dirt Rally Pro has left the race? No surprise there with his damage up to the car, but in fact Park Pooper has actually kept it up the inside of Charlie here into Copse Corner, and it's back up into second place. Charlie there around the outside will get the better momentum coming down towards Maggots and Beckett's. It's going to be quite close as Charlie's now looking back to the outside. Park Pooper there keeping himself there as they're coming into the corner now. Jay looking down the inside here, trying to get involved in this one as he squeezes ahead of Charlie there. Can he complete the move, or is Charlie going to get him run out of the corner? No, Jay gets that move done up into third place. Mike is on the back of these guys, so is Craig. So this is still a 6-car battle for the lead right now. 2 seconds covering the top 6. John Boy weaving around, trying to break the toe. Park Pooper, Jay, Charlie and Craig all in hot pursuit with Mike looking to the inside of Craig coming into Brooklands, but he's too far back at the moment. There's Big Blue running in 7th place ahead of Revolt D, followed by M. Afford, and Connor there running in P10 ahead of Aussie Albie and Nick Lavilla. But still John Boy out in front right now, 7/10 of a second currently. The gap between John Boy and Park Pooper Rex. There's Jay, who's running just about within a second of the lead right now, and Jay, we're looking to try and gain more points on Mike Gaming in this round if he possibly can. Jay, I was saying to Jay earlier on, I reckon his points deficit to Mike is around 30 points, so he could do with gaining a few more here in this race, nabbing a race win potentially, and hoping that Mike finishes off the podium if he can, then that gap will be pretty much almost nothing going into the final race of the season next week. But currently it's John Boy still leading this final race of the night here at Silverstone. He's weaving around once again trying to break that toe. Every lap you see John Boy trying to break that toe. Jay is looking up the inside of Park Pooper, and he's going to have that move done, I think, into Brooklands. Park Pooper's not giving up. He's still looking back down the inside. Jay's trying to keep it around the outside. Is Park Pooper going to get the run? I think he is, and that's a beautiful move there from Park Pooper. Jay will go for the cutback though, and I think he's going to get a better exit as he comes through Woodcote now. Jay with the momentum, looks like he's got a bit more speed than Park Pooper. Had a better run coming out of Luffield, and down the inside here Jay is going to probably have P2 done into Cops Corner. Side by side they go. Jay job done there up into second place. Charlie on the back of these guys. Craig still right there. Mike as well. This is 5 cars battling over second place. John Boy has just tried to gap these guys a little bit whilst they're battling behind him, and has done quite a good job of it here. Craig is almost inside Charlie Goff's car there as they came into Maggots and Beckett's. Mike Gaming slipping down the inside of Craig there up into 5th place, so nicely done there Mike, good opportunism there from him. But John Boy's still your race leader here, but just under a second ahead of Jay as we've got in the background there. That's Charlie there backing off. So Charlie, has he got damage or is that just the sun? I think that's just the sunlight, but nonetheless Charlie Goff I think with a slowdown penalty there, having to let everybody else through in that lead pack. But John Boy still leading ahead of Jay. Jay now is in 2nd place and can now potentially see a race win and potentially a big points gain on the championship leader Mike in this race if he can keep himself where he is, or even gain a position. John Boy once again weaving all over the gap down the straights. You can see every single time we come down the start finish straight, every time down the Wellington straight, you see it. Really notice it down the Wellington straight. John Boy's going side to side like he's skiing down the Wellington straight. But we come down into Maggots and Beckett's once again, 0.3 of a second a gap. Jay is right on the back of John Boy. I tell you what, John Boy will do well to defend this. Jay has got a heck of a run here coming down the Wellington straight. John Boy's not going to be able to weave this time because Jay is alongside him coming down towards Brooklands. John Boy with the inside. Jay's going to try and go all the way around the outside, but John Boy perfectly positioning his car there and keeping onto that position. Very astute there from John Boy. Jay can't do anything there to get the cutback as Park Pooper is still battling with Mike for 3rd place. Charlie's dropped off of this lead pack ever so slightly now. He's nearly 3 seconds behind John Boy right now, but Jay with the run coming through Woodcote once again, 0.2 of a second between these two. But I think that John Boy should have that covered off into turn 1, should be able to defend the inside line. The Megane is about half a second a lap quicker than the Mercedes, but John Boy with track position might be able to just position his car in the right places and defend here. Jay with a run down towards Maggots and Beckett's though. Is he going to get around the outside? I think he is. That's going to be job done there for Jay, and up into Chapel now they come, and that's Jay up into the lead of the race. Now Park Pooper's lost out to Mike, but Park Pooper will have the outside and will have the better run coming out of Chapel and should have that one back now coming down the Wellington straight as they come down through down towards Brooklands. But Craig still on the back of these guys, Charlie as well. Jay and John Boy separated by 1/10 of a second as they're all clustering up again coming into Brooklands. As you can see there, they're almost like 4 in a line there, 5 in a line there as they came to the corner. Jay and John Boy side by side. John Boy's not giving up in this battle for the lead. He's still right on Jay as they're coming out of Luffield once again. Can John Boy get a bit of a run? Can he use the slipstream here to his advantage? Obviously he's got a deficit with straight line speed, but he can use the slipstream to try and keep himself in this battle. As Park Pooper's now looking to the outside of John Boy coming down the straight into Cops Corner they come. Park Pooper there trying to use the slipstream off of Jay, but John Boy there, a complete sitting duck there in that Mercedes, I have to say. Has a bit of contact there with Mike as they come on the exit of Cops Corner, and it's still as you were, Jay with the lead, but John Boy losing out to Mike down to 4th place. John Boy looking back down the inside of Mike into Chapel. Can he get this done? Mike's going to have the better run coming out of Chapel. Is John Boy going to squeeze into the edge of the track? He's going to minimise Mike's space, but Mike will keep it around the outside and will have the inside and the run down towards Brooklands. Park Pooper X within 0.3 of Jay. John Boy's trying to keep himself there with Mike. Mike has got the inside line and should have that move completed into Brooklands. So that's job done there once again there for Mike Gaming. But Jay now with the lead of the race. Now what can Park Pooper do? He's got a time penalty as Park Pooper, so that will obviously affect his race finishing position. As it stands right now, he would lose out to all 3 of these guys behind him. Mike, John Boy and Craig are all within a second of him. So as it stands right now, Park Pooper X would drop down to P5 in this race. Can he pull out maybe a bit more of a gap to some of the guys behind him and maybe finish on the podium here? We'll have to see. But right now he's got Mike Gaming right up his trumpet as they're coming down towards Maggots and Beckett's once again. J-Lo's going to try and break away, I'm sure, but Park Pooper's not going to let him off the hook. I'm pretty sure of that. Revolt Detailer and Big Blue battling. Revolt Detailer's trying to get ahead of Big Blue, and Big Blue there goes a bit deep into Beckett's, but keeps it on the track at the moment. You can see there Revolt Detailer is right on the back of him, and that is a lap car there. That's Nick the Villa who's battling with them. What a change of fortune for Nick the Villa in this final race of the night. He was first in the first race, second in the second race, and in this third race he's nowhere to be seen. 12th place in this race, not been the final race of the night, not been the sort of form that we've come to expect from him over the course of this evening. But Park Pooper and Mike very close. Jay's just gapped these guys a little bit over the course of this lap. Mike looking to the inside here, and Park Pooper coming into Cop's corner. He's going to get that move done. Mike Gaming is up into P2 here, so that's another position there for him, and there's now only one place between Jay and Mike, so that's good news there for Mike, because he will minimise the points gained there from Jay. Can he even have a crack at Jay in the final few laps of this race? As Park Pooper there just trying to capitalise on John Boy sliding around. John Boy briefly made the move on him there, but Park Pooper gets the cutback coming out of Chapel and is back up into third place. So those two trading places a little bit there. Jay still leading, and he's almost got a second of a gap here right now to these guys. So Jay looking in a great position here to take the final race of the night, and obviously it'll be 2 wins from 3 for Jay. It'll be a second and 2 firsts if he can stay where he is right now. What a fantastic job that would be from him if he's able to do that. Mike and Park Pooper still just behind. You can see John Boy there on the back of these guys. Craig and Charlie still battling it out over 5th and 6th places right now as they're coming out of Luffield. You can see a couple of seconds back to Revolt Detailer, Big Blue, and then obviously Nick the Villa battling with them as well. A lap down, you've got Emmafford, who's a couple of seconds clear of Connor, who's running in P10, and then Ozzy Albie running in 11th place. He's nearly a lap down on the leaders now as well. So I imagine we will be seeing Ozzy Albie in the foreground pretty shortly on this shot, but there he is. So you can see him just in the distance there going down the Wellington Straight. But Jay, Mike, Park Pooper, John Boy, these 4 guys in the battle for the lead. Obviously there's a couple of time penalties for Park Pooper and John Boy, which will change up the order a little bit by the time we get to the checkered flag. Mike Gaming though is surely going to have a crack here at Jay. Jay currently in a position where he'll be gaining points on Mike Gaming. I reckon the gap in the championship will be dipping under 30 points as it stands going into the final round of this season. The final 3 races next week will be obviously at the same place and same time here on the Motive Racing channel. Can Jay bring that gap down a little bit more, get a couple of drivers in between himself and Mike, and give himself even more of a chance than he's currently giving himself right now? Jay has absolutely pulled a worldie out of the bag. In the last couple of rounds of this season, he has taken, well, in the last 5 races he's taken podiums in every single one. He took 2 wins at Donington and a 3rd place. He's taken a 2nd and a 1st tonight at Silverstone. He's currently leading this race. He can make it 4 wins from 6 races. He can make it 6 podiums from 6 if he stays exactly where he is right now. But Mike Gaming's not going to make it easy for him. He's going to throw the kitchen sink at him as he's kind of he's looking to the outside into the Brooklands as Jake defending the inside line absolutely superbly. Mike Gaming though is going to try all the way around the outside. He goes a little bit deep. Jake should cover him off coming into Luffield as he's trying to keep it around the outside. Mike Gaming trying to hold his ground. Jay though is holding firm and not giving up in this one. He should have a better exit out of Luffield. Down through Woodcote they come. Jay will have the outside and will be able to swoop around and back into the lead here coming down the start finish straight. But Mike's keeping himself there. Jay I think will have the outside and will have the lead just coming into Cops. Mike Gaming at the inside line. In fact Jay's going to go for the cutback here on Mike. Not going to try and keep it around the outside. They're going to be side by side down towards Maggots and Beckett's. Jay taking the lead. Wiley driving there from Jay back up into P1. Park Pooper and John Boy still in this battle. They have not given up in this one at all. They are still right there ready to capitalise if anything goes off in front of them. But Jay and Mike keeping it clean for the time being. As you can see in the foreground there, that is Ozzy Albie who's just going through Brooklands right now. But this is the battle for the lead. We've got 3 wide coming into Brooklands. Wow, where did this come from? Mike Gaming down the inside. Park Pooper's trying to capitalise and Jay's gone wide. Oh, Jay's got out of shape there. And Mike Gaming up into the lead. And with only 3 laps left to go, this is great news for Mike Gaming. And Jay needs to get his head back in the game and get back on and get back into gear here, because currently Mike Gaming will be gaining points to him, and that is the last thing that Jay needs. Jay needs to find something from somewhere in the final 3 laps of this race. Mike, Park Pooper, Jay, John Boy, your top 4 in that order right now. This is going down to the wire. This final race of the night here at Silverstone. Race 15 here. Obviously round 5, 3 races per round. Race 15 of 18 for the whole season. We've got the final 3 races next week for the final round at Alton Park on the international circuit. But what is going to go on here between these guys? We've currently got Mike, who's 3 tenths ahead of Park Pooper. Jay's going to try and look to try and make the move here on Park Pooper. Down the Wellington straight they come. Park Pooper's got the inside coming into Brooklands. Can Jay keep it on the outside? Park Pooper there defending, but Jay's going to get the cut back here. Coming into Luffield. Park Pooper back down the inside for Luffield. What can he do here? Can he keep it onto it? Jay's going to try and hold it all the way around the outside for Luffield. John Boy's there as well, but Jay will get a better exit coming through Woodcote and might be able to have the run here, but he's going to be worried about what Mike's doing up ahead of him here. He's going to be thinking ahead of Park Pooper. He wants to get ahead of Park Pooper and onto Mike Gaming, who is leading this race with 2 laps left to go. Jay looking to the inside here. Oh, but Jay's lost out. He must have got a slowdown. Jay must have got a slowdown there. So Jay's now lost out to Park Pooper and John Boy. Maybe Jay's playing the game here. Oh no, he's got a penalty anyway. Jay's got a time penalty. What is it? It's a 2-second penalty. He's going to finish P4. Jay's going to finish P4 here in this race unless he gets ahead of these two, ahead of it, right in front of him, and makes the move very quickly here. So that's not gone well at all there for Jay, but Mike Gaming is still leading this race, and he's going to come around, and Mike Gaming looks set to take a win here tonight in the final race of tonight. He's been up against it. He's been definitely losing points to Jay over the last couple of rounds, but tonight in this final race of the night, he's going to extend his championship gap, which he only took tonight with obviously Cobb, the original championship leader, crashing out of both the first 2 races and electing not to start the final race. It's given Mike the impetus. The reigning champion hits the front in the point standings in the final with just 2 rounds left in the season, and looks set to extend his gap over Jay. As it stands, can Jay have a crack here on John Boy and Park Pooper? He's got more time penalties than both of them, so he will lose out anyway. Even if he gets ahead of them, he'd have to pull out a second of a gap. It's going to be a bit beyond him, I think, and it's looking very much like it's going to be Mike Gaming going into the final race of next season, next week, should I say, not next season. It's going to be Mike Gaming going into the final round of the season with a healthy lead in this championship. They've just got a bit of traffic here, but they're not going to reach it, I don't think, before we get to the end. Aussie Albie there is going through Brooklands. Mike Gaming, though, has got just Luffield and Woodcote to go, and he's going to take the win in this final race. What a disappointing end to the race for Jay, who led it for pretty much the majority, but cracked towards the end of the race. It's going to be Mike Gaming around the final corner of Woodcote here at Silverstone. Here is going to be a fantastic win for him. He really had to fight in this final race of the night, but it's over the line, and it's the victory here for Mike Gaming. Park Pooper Rex takes 2nd place. Jay gets it on the time penalties. So John Boy and Park Pooper got 2-second penalties on the final lap. Oh, you couldn't write it. So Jay does get 2nd place and still keeps himself, I think, around 30 points off of Mike. I reckon the gap's about 35 points between Mike and Jay, if my maths are correct. It might not be correct, but I think that it's going to be a reasonably close fight in this championship battle going into next week at Alton Park. Mike Gaming taking the win, Jay 2nd, Park Pooper came over in 3rd, ahead of John Boy 4th, Craig finished in 5th ahead of Charlie in 6th, Big Blue 7th, Revolt Detailer finished in 8th place in the end, Emma Foot came over in 9th, Connor came over in 10th place, Aussie Albie is coming through the final corner. It's going to be 11th place for him. Nick Levitt has already finished the race a lap down in 12th place. So Aussie Albie will be the last driver to finish, but the championship battle goes down to the final round here between Mike and Jay. The gap not too big, I gotta say. There's still 156 points left on the table. The gap, I think, 30 odd points between Mike and Jay. We will get those championship standings up to date and give you some update on that very soon. But guys, what a night that was in the touring cars. A shame to see that our championship leader coming into tonight, Cobb, out of this race, down to the fact that he crashed out of the 2 races beforehand, the first 2 races tonight, which lost him a massive load of points, and has basically given it between Mike and Jay for the final round next week at Alton Park. But nonetheless, some great racing from all of the guys. Big thank you to the drivers for joining us tonight. You've put on a hell of a show. Hopefully we're going to have a similar turnout to that. Also guys, if you are watching this back afterwards, any of the drivers or anybody watching this for the first time, or anyone who's been watching all this season and has wanted to get involved, definitely go to www.motiveracing.com and get involved in the on-track action. We've got a new season starting up in January. We'll be doing an 8-round season for the Clio Cup on a Monday night and the touring cars on a Thursday night. Plus we'll be running a weekly special event on Tuesday nights as well. So we've got lots to look forward to here at Motive. But once again, a big thank you to everybody for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one, guys. See you next week for the finale. It's going to be a cracker. Good night.
I get lost sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. Now, when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and